and how you organize those and share to the friends. 5 marks. Second, organization and structure. Remember, at home, you organize your bedroom, you organize your study table or bookcase. Similarly, you organize your ideas and thoughts in a particular structure. Appropriate introduction, that is beginning, and your major content, and how you conclude. For that, 5 marks. Similarly, delivery. Under delivery, how you deliver your ideas, voice and pronunciation. How skillfully you utter those words, your pronunciation, and is your voice audible to the audience? How well you engage your audience, and how you express. That's what I said. Facial expression, eye contact, giving value to your audience. Because you are speaking and they are listening to you, give some value to your audience. Maybe sometimes smiles. Maybe if you are sharing some aggressive words, so aggression should be seen in your face. Expression, 5 marks. And giving some eye contact, 5 marks. Don't forget few things when you are doing here. It's all.
We would like to request Tejendra Sir and Problem Sir to take their seats as a judge of this event. Come on, round of applause.
Don't worry to be perfect. Just try to be you.
And
Now
saying that, we would like to call up our first contender for today, Asta Singh from grade 7 Rati. Please give her a round of applause.
And today I am here to narrate an extract from a novel called Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Part 1, Chapter 1. On an exceptionally hot evening, early in July, a young man came out of his garret, in which he lodged in S Place, and walked slowly, as though in hesitation, towards K Bridge. He had successfully avoided meeting his landlady on the staircase. Time he went out, he was obliged to pass her kitchen, a door which invariably stood open. And each time he passed, he had a sick and frightened feeling, which made him scowl and feel ashamed. He was hopelessly in debt to his landlady. This was not because he was cowardly and abject, quite the contrary. But for some time past, he had been in an overstrained and irritable condition. He had become so completely absorbed in himself and isolated from his landlady, but anyone at all. He was crushed by poverty. But the anxieties of his position had led him of his fears. I want to attempt something like that, and am afraid by those crises, he thought. Thank you.
Give her a round of applause. Now I would like to welcome Aditya Karki from 7th Tilutama.
Elocution Showcase from the book Percy Jackson, Chapter 1. Well, no, I had no idea what a sorcerer's license was, and it was not a great time to ask what a sorcerer's license was. He just said you had big plans, and you needed big credits to do the keeper's assignment. So, did you get it? Grover looked down at the Naidas. Mr. D suspended the judgment. He just said, if you and me went to a quest and I went along with you to protect you and we both came back alive, then he'd maybe consider the job completed. My spirit lifted. Isn't it great? He might as well has transferred me to the stable cleaning duty. And if you want me along with you, Grover started. He said, "It's nice to have a great skill. Thank you."
Amazing. Hello. Now I would like to welcome Angshu Shastra from grade 7 Rapti.
Greetings everyone, my name is Elocution Showcase and today I am going to be telling a story which I made myself. Dim, but enough. It had been months since he couldn't provide for the ones he loved. He was a talented student in engineering. But as he grew up, he wondered, don't people say to get a degree and success might come on its own? He was Rashid, a person who worked day and night, shivering in the winter cold and sweating in the sun. Rashid had a wife, Amelia, and a daughter, Denise. He was an inventor. He used to go outside and start making things. He made hand pumps, toys, gadgets, which could help in day-to-day life if someone bought them. But rather than getting a single cent or even a praise, he got mockery, criticism, and hate. People told him to give up, but the more they told him, the more encouraged he was from the inside. He wanted to show them that he could do it. Every single day he worked day and night to make something new. On weekends he would carry an old weary bag and go outside. He would try to sell them, but in 5 hours he couldn't even barely get $5. He was struggling. One day an electrical outage happened in the neighborhood, but everyone's flashlights were flashing. Only his house had light, dim, but it was enough to suffice for a family. The next day, Amir, the neighborhood tech company startup businessman, he came and asked Rashid, "How did your house have light while others didn't?" Rashid said, "Well, I made a solar battery which could light up the house." Amir asked Rashid if he wanted to work for his innovation department in his tech company. Like any person, Rashid said yes. Soon enough, he became the lead of the department, and he soon got to rise up. Now he has a nice family and living well. Thank you.
Here to say the first chapter of The Titan's Curse by Nick Riordan. The Friday before winter break, my mom packed me an overnight bag and took me to a new boarding school. Picking up my friends, Annabeth and Thalia, along the way as we began the 8-hour trek from New York to Bar Harbor. The world outside turned into a chaotic blur of white sleet and snow pounded up on the highway like a drumbeat of approaching danger. Inside the car, the air was heavy and the silence you could almost touch. Annabeth, Thalia, and I hadn't seen each other in months. The roar of the blizzard and the heavy weight of the rescue mission sitting in our stomachs, we were far too nervous to find any words. My mom, who has this superpower where she talks faster the more worried she gets, by the time the shadow of West in the gathering dark, she managed to tell Thalia and Annabeth her entire muttering baby story in her arsenal, leaving me wishing the snow would just swallow the car. Thalia finally broke the tension, wiping a thick layer of fog off the window with her sleeve to peer into the gloom, muttering a dry, sarcastic, "Oh yeah, this will be fun." That's perfectly masked the dread in my heart. Looking out, I saw it. Westover Hall, a place that looked less like a school and more like a grim, evil's castle. Thank you.
Hello.
Open, shoes untied and hopes already fading. Just as he reached the stop, the boss moved away. He stood there angry and breathless. "This day is terrible," he muttered. With nothing else to do, he sat in a nearby bench. And for the first time in weeks, he noticed a small tea shop beside the road. An old man was struggling to lift a heavy box. Ramesh helped him. The old man offered him a cup of tea, and they talked for a few minutes. The old man spoke about patience and how life sometimes slows down for a reason. After sometimes, a bus came. Ramesh boarded it calmly, and though he was late, his anger was gone, because that day he realized missing a bus wasn't a mistake, it was a lesson. Thank you.
Don't you think he deserves slap? I will like to welcome Aradhan Pandey from 7th Tilotama, and I am here to tell an extract from the book One and Only Ivan from Catherine Applegate. Magh groans. He stumbles to his feet and hobbles off towards his office. Ruby watches him leave. I can't feel her expression. Is she afraid, relieved, proud? Ruby watches him leave and gives him a death stare. I wish I could tell her how it would feel to get poked by a owner of a big mall. After Magh was gone, George and Julia led Ruby from the cage. They settle Ruby in a domain so she has fresh water and food. Julia asks as George locks Ruby's iron door. "Do you think Magh would ever hurt Ruby?" "No, I don't think so. At least I hope not," George says. "Maybe we could call someone." George scratches his chin. "I wish I could help Ruby, but I wouldn't know how. I mean, who would I call? The elephant cops? Besides, I need this job, Jules. We need this job. Your mom, Dr. Bills, and so on. Back to work, you and me both." Julia sighs and reaches for her backpack. She then removes a piece of paper, a bottle of water, and a small metal box. "Homework first," George says. It's for my art class. We're doing watercolors, and I'm going to paint Ruby," Julia says. George smiles. "All right then. Just make sure you don't forget your spelling." Okay, Dad," Julia says. "Dad?" Julia asks again. Did you see Magh's face when Ruby hit him?" George nods. "Yes, I did," he says solemnly. "Poor Magh," George says again. When George turns away, I then only hear him laughing at the back. Thank you.
Please welcome Aryan Das from 7 Rapti.
Listen to the story, absorb, and then when your turn comes, how you express it, how you do it, that's very important. You are in your own world. You have to, okay, Agya, you're still talking. He's still talking. All right, how do you express, how did your friend express the sentences that he or she spoke? All right, you have to learn that. Listen to your friends. Listen to the story. And the ones who are coming here, make the story as interesting as possible. I told you before, where did you go and where did you go? You know, there's a difference. All right?
Brothers, teachers, and to my dear friends. I am Aryan Das from grade 7 Rapti, here to narrate a story which I wrote by myself. The story is titled Journey to the Bottom of the Sea. In the year 1268, there lived two friends in the town of Evermere. Their names were Carl and Daniel. They both were young and loved traveling a lot. They used to explore the nearby woods in their free time. One day, while exploring the nearby woods, they spotted a glass bottle with a rolled piece of paper inside it. They went towards it and Carl picked it up. Daniel said, "Such a strange sight. I've never seen anything like this before. I've only heard about it in stories." Carl replied, "I feel the same. Such a strange experience." Carl opened the bottle and took out a piece of paper. Carl unrolled it and was shocked to see what was inside. Daniel asked, "What's so surprising?" Carl showed Daniel and Daniel had the same reaction. The paper said, "A great treasure lies at the bottom of the sea near the Black Reef. But be warned, only the brave and kind may find it." Daniel whispered, "Real?" Carl replied, "Yes, and I want to go there." Daniel nodded and said, "Me too. This may be the biggest adventure of our lives." The next day, they packed food, clothes, and a rope. They went to the seaside town. There, they met an old fisherman named Captain Rowan. Carl said, "Sir, can you take us to the Black Reef?" The captain replied, "Why do you want to go there, boys?" Daniel showed him the message and the captain read it slowly. He said, "I've heard of this reef. It is deep and dangerous. But if you are careful, I will take you." Carl smiled and said, "Thank you, sir." They both decided to spend the night at the same village and set sail next morning. The next morning, they sailed across the sea. The waves were deep and dark. Strange blue lights glowed under the waves. Daniel said, "Carl, do you see that?" Carl replied, "Yes, I think we are near the Black Reef." Captain Rowan said, "Be brave, but do not be greedy at all." They put on their diving suits and swam deep into the ocean. Soon they found a cave and swam inside. The cave had bright crystals on the walls. At the end, they found a big stone door. They pushed it open and saw an underwater city. In a hall, they saw a chest, but inside was no gold. There were some books and maps. It also contained a glass bottle with a rolled piece of paper inside. They took the items and heard the cave starting to break. They quickly swam to the surface and went into their boat. The captain said, "Did you find any treasure?" Carl replied, "No, we found some books and maps. We found this glass bottle though." Asked them to open the glass bottle. Carl opened it and read, "Congratulations on making it all the way down there. You may not have found the treasure you were expecting, but the treasure you gained from this is kindness and courage." Hearing this, everyone smiled. Daniel said, "The real treasure we gained from this is kindness and courage." Carl replied, "I agree with you." Captain Rowan said, It was a nice journey. After this, they went back to their homes. The moral of the story is, kindness and courage are the real treasures of life. Thank you.
Welcome Ms. Rohini Pradhan, the school principal and also the judge for today's event. Please give her a huge round of applause. Assistant Arun Sharma from grade 7 Tilotama.
I am Arun Sharma from grade 7 Tilotama, here to tell an extract on the story Monster Blood for Breakfast. After dinner, I was up in my room, bending over my ivy plants,
when I felt sudden 4 hard fingers wrap around my neck. Hey, I said. It was Lively, my sister. She took her hands away and laughed. Why do you love sneaking up on me like that? I shrugged. She said, because it's fun. And now bring me a garbage bag for clipping, I said. Like I'm your servant. She shouted and pushed me away. And then she started dancing away. At that time, we could feel the thuds on the stairs. It was Bradley. After a few seconds, he came into our room. He said, my 2 favorite people. After that, Lively said bye and she ran as fast as she could. Bradley had me cornered. I could smell the spaghetti sauce on his breath. He said, yo dude, let's check this out. He took out a green plastic egg from his pocket. He said, I said, I joked, make an omelette. He said, it grows and makes you bigger and stronger. And then I took the egg and kept it close to my face. I could read the words monster blood. And I remembered my laptop had the same thing. I pictured 2 black guys with angry eyes. They were asking for the egg to get it back. Bradley used my laptop to order it, so that's why they think I have it. They want to get it so badly because it's too dangerous. Before I could do anything, Bradley took out a chunk of it. Thank you.
Wasn't it fantastic? We worked with our
The greedy king. King Midas lived in a palace overflowing with treasures. Yet he was not satisfied. His eyes always wandered towards something more valuable. One afternoon, he encountered a mysterious merchant. The merchant claimed that he could turn and
It looks like a trick at all, but just there is really good. But when you try
Now please welcome Audrey Nitya Pradhan from grade 7 Tirotama.
Nitya Pradhan from grade 7 Tirotama, here to tell prose from an extract from the book Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Let's begin. We'd reached the crest of the hill. Down the other side, I could see a valley, just as my mother had said, and a light of a farmhouse glowing through the rain. But that was half a mile away. We'd never make it. The bullman grunted, pawing at the ground. He was eyeing my mother, who was now slowly retreating downhill, back toward the road, and trying to get the monster's attention away from Grover. Run, Percy, she told me. I can't go any further. Run. But I just stood there, frozen in fear. And as the monster charged, she tried to sidestep, just as she told me to do. But the monster had learned his lesson. And as she tried to escape, the monster lifted her up. And she tried kicking and got one last word, go. Then, with an angry roar, the monster clenched his fists melting into light, a shimmering golden form as if she were a holographic projection. And then, with a blinding flash, she was simply gone. Thank you.
Story. The title of my story is Laziness is Never Paid. A king, distressed by his people's laziness, hid a treasure box under a huge stone on the main road to teach them a lesson. As they passed by, merchants, officers, and other citizens simply went around it. What a shame, a merchant angrily grumbled. The king is so irresponsible for leaving this obstacle. A policeman shook his head and said coldly, it certainly isn't my duty to clear the road. As other people gossiped in tea shops, complaining and blaming the government about the mess, but doing nothing. Finally, at the end of the day, the king gathered a crowd and ordered the citizens to move the stone. Then everyone gasped. Beneath the stone, there lay a treasure box. The king looked at the crowd and said, "This reward was meant for the one who acted. You chose to complain while you could have contributed." Everyone lowered their head in shame. At this moment, they finally realized the greatest obstacle of all was their own inaction. The moral of this story is laziness only brings regret, while action brings reward. Thank you.
From grade 7, Tilodama.
Prose on an extract from the book Around the World in 80 Days. You have made a mistake of one day. We arrived 24 hours ahead of time, but there are only 10 minutes left. Passepartout seized his master by the collar and dragged him across to the Reform Club. They jumped into a cab, promised 100 pounds to the driver, and after running over 2 dogs and swiping 5 carriages, Phileas Fogg and Passepartout made it to the Reform Club. At the Reform Club, their friends were waiting at the main salon, and Phileas Fogg had won his wager of 20,000 pounds. But how was it so that a man that exact and fastidious could have made such a simple error? The cause of his error was very simple. He had traveled continuously eastward, so therefore the days had diminished for him by 4 minutes, and across the 360 degrees that there are, that comes out to 24 hours. The day unconsciously gained. That is how Phileas Fogg had gained his unconscious day and still.
The Andrews are from grade 7 Rapti, and today I'm going to narrate a story, The Ass Crowned by Heir of the Throne. The kingdom believed fire was destruction alone. They were wrong. When the old king died, his crown was burned on a pyre, as the tradition demanded. From the ashes rose nothing, no sign, no omen. The nobles argued, the priests prayed, and the people waited for a ruler who did not come. That was when Liren, a charcoal burner's daughter, found the crown. It lay warm beneath the forest soil, blackened and cracked, yet alive. When she touched it, the ground breathed. Trees leaned closer, and the wind whispered her name, though she had never spoken it aloud. She didn't want power. She wanted bread for her mother and silence from the hunger that gnawed at the land. The crown followed and where she slept, as falling from it like snow. When armies marched and the earth split beneath their feet, that was when Liren stepped between them, placed the crown upon her head, and the fire did not consume her. Instead, it listened. Flames called into symbols older than speech. The soldiers dropped their weapons as the ground healed itself. Ceiling scars with glowing seams of light. Crops rose where blood should have fallen. The crown turned to dust, carried by the wind. Liren returned to the forest, her hands empty, her task complete. The kingdom crowned no ruler that day. For the first time in generation, the land ruled itself. Thank you.
Here to tell a story that I wrote myself called The Last Call. Midnight was the hour when the city went silent. Phones were illegal after 12, part of the government's new system to stop crimes before it happened. So when Detective Felix's phone rang exactly at 12:01 a.m., his blood ran cold. The screen lit up. Incoming call. Felix. That's not funny, he muttered, answering anyways. Help me, a voice muttered. He's right behind me, the voice said shakily. Felix froze. His breath caught. The voice was his. Same tone, same fear. Where are you? He demanded. Subway platform K9. And please, don't be late this time. Call, Felix grabbed his coat and gun and drove through the empty streets. As he descended down the cracked stairs of the long abandoned station, the air grew colder, heavier, as if darkness itself was watching him. Suddenly, the old digital board flickered on. A live video feed appeared, showing Felix exactly where he was standing. "What the hell?" he whispered. The other Felix, wide open with terror. Suddenly, more people started appearing on the screen. Suddenly, Felix realized that they were the people that died at the station, his unsolved murder cases. Felix slowly backed away. His phone rang again. You didn't listen last time," the voice said, calmly now. "You never do." Memories started flooding his mind. Reports he didn't remember writing. Crime scenes he had already investigated. The truth hit him. The city's AI preventing a crime system didn't stop crimes or criminals. It rewrote time, trapping detectives inside the murder cases until the cases were eventually solved. But some cases aren't meant to be solved. Felix backed away, slowly, with footsteps echoing behind him. As everything went blank, his phone rang again. One final time. Thank you.
Everyone present here, their judges, their teachers, and my lovingly friends. My name is Josh Shrestha and I'm from 7 Rapti. Today I'm here to recite a story that I wrote by myself. The title of the story is The Greedy Princess. She was well behaved, was given all the information quickly spread. So the king banished her from the kingdom and married her to a beggar. She had to sleep with her, cook with her, and follow her. So soon she was led to a kingdom, and they straightly went to the kingdom hall.
And here to tell an extract from the book Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. It was a long journey to the castle to the North Tower. 2 years at Hogwarts hadn't taught them everything about the castle, and they had never been to the North Tower before. There's got to be a shortcut, Ron painted, as they climbed their 7th long staircase and emerging on an unfamiliar landing, where there was nothing but a large painting of a bare stretch of grass hanging on the stone wall. "I think this is the way," said Hermione, peering down at the empty passage right to the right. "Can't be," said Ron. "That's south. Look, you can see a bit of the lake out the window." Harry was watching the painting. A fat, dappled grey pony just ambled onto the grass and was grazing. Harry was used to the subjects of Hogwarts painting moving around and leaving the frames to visit each other. But he always enjoyed watching them. Thank you.
Give him a round of applause. Crystal Thapa from 7 Rapid.
Called at the merciless dock. Esma Dantes climbed onto the bowsprit and gazing across the
Let's give him a round of applause. Now please welcome Miss
Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It was lonely for a day or so until one morning, one man, more recently arrived than I, stopped me by the side of the road. "How do you get to West Egg Village?" he asked helplessly. I told him, and as I walked on, I was no longer lonely. I was a guide, a pathfinder, an original settler. He had casually conferred to me on the freedom of the neighborhood, and so with the sunshine and the great bursts of leaves growing on the trees, I had that familiar conviction that life was beginning over again this summer. There was so much to read for one thing, and so much fine health to be pulled down out of the young, breath-giving air. I bought a dozen volumes on banking and credit and investment securities, and they stood up on my shelf in red and gold like new money from the mint, promising to unfold shining secrets that only Midas, Morgan, and Maecenas knew. I had the high intention of reading many other books besides. I was rather literary in college. I wrote a series of very solemn and obvious editorials for the Yale News. And now I was going to bring back all such things into my life and become, once again, that most limited of all specialists, the well-rounded man. This isn't just an epigram. No, life is much more successfully looked at from a single window after all. While saying this, I'd like to end my narration here. Thank you.
Thank you for a round of applause. Now
I am going to be narrating an extract from the book Percy Jackson, The Sea of Monsters. Chapter 6, The Demon Pigeons Attack. My father, the all-powerful Poseidon, had gotten moony-eyed for some nature spirit, and Tyson had been the result. I mean, I'd read the myths about Cyclopes. I even remembered that they were often Poseidon's children. But I never really processed the fact that this made them my family until I had Tyson living with me in the next bunk. And then there were the other campers. Suddenly, I wasn't Percy Jackson, the cool guy who'd retrieved Zeus's lightning bolt last summer. Now, I was Percy Jackson, the poor schmuck with the ugly monster for a brother. "He's not my real brother," I protested whenever Tyson wasn't around. "He's more like a half-brother on the monstrous side of the family, like a half-brother twice removed." I was angry at my dad. Annabeth tried to make me feel better. She suggested we team up for the chariot race. Annabeth's mom, Athena, had created chariots, and my dad, Poseidon, had created horses. Together, we would own that track. Thank you.
Extract from the book Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. As he stood, scared someone might open the door, and then, right after he thought that, the door swang open. Peeves, the poltergeist, came shooting out. "Why, it's Potty wee Potter," cackled Peeves, knocking Harry's glasses off the ground, bouncing towards him. "Why is Potter here? Why is Potter lurking?" Peeves stopped. Halfway through a mid-air somersault, upside down, he stopped Justin and nearly headless Nick. He flipped the right way up, filled his lungs, and before Harry could stop him, he screamed, "Attack! Attack! Another attack! No mortal or ghost is safe here. Run for your lives! Attack!" Crash, crash, crash. Door after door flew open along the corridor and people flooded out. For several long minutes, there was a scene of such confusion that Justin was in danger of being squashed, and people kept standing nearly head listening, pinned against the wall as the teacher shouted for quiet. Professor McGonagall came running, followed by her own class, one of whom still had black and white striped hair. She used her wand to set off a loud bang, which restored silence and ordered everyone back into their classes. No sooner had the scene cleared, somewhat than Ernie the Hufflepuff arrived, panting on the scene. Caught in the act, screamed Ernie. Thank you.
Give her a round of applause. Now I'd like to
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Chapter 2, Dobby's Warning. Harry managed not to shout out, but it was a close thing. The little creature on the bed had large bat-like ears and bulging green eyes, the size of tennis balls. Harry knew instantly that this was what had been watching him out of the garden hedge that morning. As they stared at each other, Harry heard Dudley's voice from the hall. "May I take your coats, Mr. and Mrs. Mason?" The creature slipped off the bed and bowed so low that the end of his long, thin nose touched the carpet. Harry noticed that it was wearing what looked like an old pillowcase with rips for arm and leg holes. Hello?" said Harry nervously. "Harry Potter," said the creature in a high-pitched voice. "Such an honor it is. Dobby has wanted to meet you for so long." Thank you," said Harry, edging along the wall, sinking into his desk chair next to Hedwig, who was asleep in her large cage. He wanted to ask, "What are you?" but thought it would sound a bit too rude, so instead he asked, "Who are you?" "Dobby, sir, just Dobby. Dobby the house elf," replied the creature. "Oh, really?" said Harry. "I don't mean to be rude or anything, but isn't it a great time to have a house elf in my bedroom?" said Harry. Aunt Petunia's high false laugh sounded from the living room. The elf hung his head. "Not that I'm not pleased to meet you," added Harry quickly, "but, is there any particular reason you're here?" "Honestly, Dobby has come to tell you, sir." "It's difficult, sir. Dobby doesn't know where to begin." "Sit down." To his horror, the elf burst into tears. Very noisy tears. Sit down. Never, 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 ever." Harry thought he heard sounds from the room downstairs. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't mean to offend you or anything." "Offend Dobby?" yelled the creature. "Dobby has never been asked to sit down by a wizard, like an equal." Harry trying to say shush, but sound comforting at the same time, ushering Dobby back onto the bed, where he sat hiccoughing, looking like a very large and ugly doll. Thank you. Now please welcome Imara Boydde from grade 7 Tilotama.
From grade 7 Tilotama, I am here to tell an extract from the story, The Alchemist. "My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer," the boy told the alchemist one night as they looked up at the moonless sky. "Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself. And no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. Every second of a search is an encounter with God," the boy told his heart. The alchemist then told the boy that it is always important to follow his dreams and to never give up.
Every second of a search is an encounter with God, the boy told his heart again. When I have been truly searching for my treasure, every day has been luminous. I have known that I would find my dream. I've discovered things along the way that had I not had the courage to try things that seemed impossible for a little boy to achieve. I complain sometimes, he said. It's because I'm the heart of a person, and every people's hearts are that way. People are afraid to pursue their important dreams in life because they feel that they don't deserve them or are afraid to achieve them. We, their hearts, become fearful just thinking of loved ones who go away forever, or of moments that could have been good but weren't, or of treasures that could have been found but were forever hidden under the sands. Whenever these things happen, we tend to suffer terribly. The boy continued to listen to his heart as they crossed the desert. He came to understand all of its dodges and its tricks. He lost all of the fear inside him and forgot about his need to go back to the oasis. Thank you.
I'm going to narrate a story named James and the Giant Peach, Chapter 1. Until he was 4 years old, James and his daughter had a happy life. He lived with his mother and father in a beautiful house beside the sea. There were always plenty of other children for him to play with, and their ocean to paddle in. It was the perfect life for a small boy. Then one day, James' mother and father went.
That morning, I had forgotten about the war. The bomb was supposed to be in London, not here at Miss Smith's house. But even then, I had forgotten. You may think, how could you forget something like a bomb? A sketchy feeling swirled inside my stomach. What do you mean we are now at war? Weren't we already? We're here. The government had evacuated the cities ahead of time. They knew the war was coming, just not exactly when, Miss Smith explained. If they knew the war was coming, they could have stopped it. I said, you can't stop Hitler without a fight. Miss Smith replied, don't worry, Ada, you will be safe and your mother will be safe. And I'm sure you will be able to go home soon. The way she said it with a fake smile, I knew she was lying. But I could not understand why she would lie. I said before I thought. I bit back my words, which were, I'd rather be here. Miss Smith looked startled. She seemed about to say something, but just then, Jamie started crying. I want to go home, he said. I don't want war. I don't want bomb. I'm scared. I want to go home. When I was thinking of going home, I couldn't breathe. Home was more frightening than bombs. What was Jamie thinking? Thank you.
Of the swan. Walking back to camp through the swamp, Sam wondered whether to tell his father what he had seen. I know one thing, he said to himself. I'm going back to that little pond. He will want to go with me. I'm not sure that's a very good idea. Sam was 11. His last name was Beaver. He was strong for his age and had black hair and dark eyes like an Indian. The swamp through which he was traveling was a wild place where there was no trail and it was boggy underfoot, which made walking difficult. Every 4 or 5 minutes, Sam would take out his compass from his pocket and checked if he went to the westerly direction. Canada is a big place. Much of it is wilderness. To get lost in the woods of Western Canada would be a serious matter. As he slowly walked His mind was full of wonder of what he had seen. Not many people in the world have seen the nest of a trumpeter swan. Sam had found one near a pond. He had seen two great white birds with their long white necks and black beaks. Not seen before. The nest was big too. The female was sitting on the eggs, and the male glided slowly back and forth, guarding her. When Sam reached camp, tired and hungry, he found his father frying a couple of fish for lunch. "Where have you been?" asked Mr. Beaver. "Exploring," replied Sam. "I walked over to a pond about a mile and a half away from here." "Did you see anything over there?" asked his father. "Well," said Sam, "I saw a muskrat and a few red-winged blackbirds." Said Sam. He perfectly knew that he would be going back to the pond where the swans were. He enjoyed his life, but the thing he most enjoyed in his life was these camping trips in Canada with his father. Mrs. Beaver didn't care about woods, so she rarely went along. It was usually just Sam and his father. After supper that evening, Sam and his father sat for a while on the porch. Sam was reading a bird book. "Dad," said Sam, "do you think we'll be coming back to camp again about a month from now? I mean, in about 35 days or something like that?" I guess so," replied Mr. Beaver. "I certainly hope so. But why 35 days? Said Sam. "I just thought it might be very nice around here in 35 days. It's all nice here. It's nice here all the time," said Mr. Beaver. Sam knew a lot about birds, and he knew it would take a swarm about 35 days to hatch her eggs. He hoped he could be at the pond to see the young ones when they came out of the eggs. Another fox. "Why does a fox bark?" Sam closed his notebook, got changed, curled into his bed, and laid there with his eyes closed, wondering, why does a fox bark? In a few minutes, he was asleep. Thank you.
By the time clock showed 2:17 a.m., the hostel felt abandoned. No footsteps, no voices, not even the stray dogs barked anymore. I shut my books, hands trembling from exhaustion, and whispered a small prayer before turning off the lights. That's when I heard it, breathing. Slow, wet, right behind me. I froze. I could feel it against my ribs. I didn't touch my phone. The desk lamp flickered on by itself, revealing my book wide open. Every page was filled with the same sentences written again and again. Don't look back. The clock started ticking again. Faster, louder. Each tick sounded like a knock on the inside of my skull. Something laughed. Not a loud laugh, but a broken, choking sound, as if it hadn't been used in years. The mattress sank behind me. I felt fingers pressing onto my shoulders. Cold and curious. My phone buzzed. Unknown. If you see me, I get to stay. I slowly raised my eyes to the dark screen of my phone and saw my face staring back, eyes wide open, smiling from behind me. And then a whisper crawled into my ears. You finally learned. The flickering light from the lamp went out and everything went silent. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pragan Gautam and my story name is Gretel and Hansel. Gretel and Hansel was brother and sister. They lived with their father and stepmother. Mother decided to take them and leave them at the jungle. So the stepmother will have.
Prastav Giri from grade 7 Rapti, here to narrate an extract from the book Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 2, Dobby's Warning. Harry managed not to shout out, but it was a close thing. The little creature on the bed has large bat-like ears and bulging green eyes the size of tennis balls. He instantly knew that this was what had been watching him out of the garden hedge that morning. As they stared at each other, Harry heard Duffy's voice in the hall. Exclamation bowed so low that his long and thin nose touched the carpet. Harry noticed that it was the creature was wearing what looked like an old pillowcase with ribs for arms and leg holes. Hello, said Harry nervously. Harry Potter, said the creature in a high-pitched voice. Harry was sure it would carry down the stairs.
Today I'm gonna tell a story on the topic the adventure. Today I'm gonna the topic is the adventure of Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe's first course was to make a pretend to speak to his mom to get something for your substance on board. Also, his name, some bullets, and put all into the boat. At the same time, had found some powder of my master in the great cabin.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell an extraction from a book called Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. It's a universal truth acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be want of a wife. However, little known the feelings or the views of such a man may be in his first entering of a neighborhood. This truth is so well fixed in the surrounding families that he is considered the right that replied that he had not. But it is, said she. Mrs. Long had just came by and told me all about it. Mr. Bennet made no reply. Don't you want to know who has taken it? Cried his wife. You are eager to tell me, and I have no objection not to hear it. This was invitation enough. Why don't you want to know, my dear? You must know. Mrs. Long said that Netherfield is taken by a young man with large fortune from the North England. And he came by this Monday in a chase and for to see the place and was much delighted with it that he agreed with Mr. Morris immediately and is to take possession by the next Michaelmas. And his servants are to be by the house by the next week. Bingley, is he married or single? Oh, single, my dear, certainly. A single man with a good and a large fortune. 5,000 or 6,000 per year. What a fine thing for our girls. How so? How can it affect them? My dear Mr. Bennet, replied she. How can it be so trisome? You must know that I'm thinking of him marrying one of them. I see no occasion for that. You and the girls may go, or send them by themselves, which perhaps will be better, as you are as beautiful as them, so Mr. Bennet might like you the most. My dear, you flatter me. I see, but I do not pretend to be extraordinary now. When a woman has 5 grown-up daughters, she ought to think over her beauty. Thank you.
Please give her a round of applause. Now welcome Riaz Watrai from grade 7, Rapti.
Good morning, everyone. I will tell an extract from the story named Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. Jim Hawkins climbed the hill, the map clutched tightly in his hands. Every shadow seemed alive, and the wind whispered through the trees. He remembered what John Silver had said, Follow the map carefully and it will lead you to the treasure. But be aware of the crew. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. Treasure was near, but so was danger. Jim knew he had to be brave because in adventures like this, courage is worth more than gold. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Sister from Tilotama 7. He is not dead. He's sleeping in his cell. When he does die, I guess he will smile. Thank you.
My name is Rohan Adhikari from 7 Rapti. Today I am going to tell a story titled Detective. It was a beautiful day in Stone Town. Mark, a 12-year boy who was merrily walking about the road, his academic memory carefully capturing everything that met his gaze. Mark gave a coin to a beggar. He moved a little and came back. He said, "It's pretty simple. First of all, you did not thank me when I gave you the coin. You look frustrated, your lips aren't rocked, and your beard is clean, something that not most beggars have. And the brown patches all over your body is not dirt, it's color."
Good morning everyone, my name is Rivas Bhatta. I'm from grade 7 Tilotama. I'm going to tell a Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe stole on the shore of the sea. He looked around, his eyes searching the endless sand. Alone, completely alone, he whispered to himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sarina Tiwari from grade 7 Rapti, and today I am here to narrate an extract from a book called Little Woman, written by Louisa May Alcott. Chapter 1, A Christmas Letter. "Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents," grumbled Jo March, lying on the rug. "I hate being poor," sighed her sister, Meg, looking at her old dress. "So do I," sniffed Amy, the youngest, who was gazing at passerbys. "And I don't think it's fair for some girls to get lots of pretty things while other girls get nothing at all." "At least we have mother, father, and each other," said Beth. "We don't have father," Jo observed. "At least not for a long time." "Perhaps never," each sister added quietly to themselves, thinking about their father far at war. "Mother said we ought not to celebrate Christmas any worse," Amy butted in. "The girls at my school laugh at me for my patched clothes." Beth put Mother's old slippers to warm near the fire. "They are full of holes." "Let's not get anything for ourselves," she said. "Instead, let's get something for Mother. She worked so hard." Jo beamed. "That's a better idea." And, seizing Beth, they danced around the room. Meg and Amy clapped and cheered them on.
Good morning to everyone that's present here. I'm Sanvi Casey from grade 7 Tilotama, here to tell you all a short story that I created myself. And the title of my story is The Forbidden Forest and Its Secrets, especially on boring afternoons. The forest is probably forbidden because someone lost their lunch there, Anu joked. Or maybe the trees are allergic to humans, Ria added, preparing to enter the forest, but still hesitating. After all, it was forbidden. Maya, the bravest one, took the first step and said, "Come on, guys, one little adventure won't hurt. Plus, we'll be back before dinner." All four of them entered the forest. The forest was dark, but it was still really beautiful. Birds were singing strange songs. Glowing mushrooms lit the path like little lamps. The air was fresh yet heavy. Maya was taking notes on a little notebook on the forest. She whispered, "This place feels magical. Then suddenly, a giant shadow moved behind them. All of them were so scared. The shadow was not of any human, nor of any animal. So what was that? Ria shouted, realizing the danger. They ran until they reached a clearing with old stone circle. In the middle stood a mirror. It was standing all alone. It was tall and silver.
I'm gonna narrate a story called The Hall Where Promises Learn to Walk by Eleanor Whitcomb. At the edge of Briarfield stood an unused civic hall with tall windows clouded by dust and time. No one knew its original purpose. Only the rule that followed it like a shadow was, words spoken inside never stayed there. At first, people dismissed the stories. Then a councilman joked inside the hall. A merchant muttered, "I deserve more than this place." And the next day, he received an offer elsewhere that left his shop empty and his neighbors resentful. The hall did not reward or punish, it answered. Once this became known, everybody grew careful. Most avoided the building entirely. It was easier to stay silent than risk being heard by something that took language so seriously. Clara Bennett did not have that luxury. Clara ran the town's only daycare. Every day, she calmed arguments, wiped tears, and repeated promises. She struggled to believe herself. When funding cuts threatened to close her center, she stood before the locked door one evening, keys trembling in her hand.
Around the world in this. Mr. Fogg, Mrs. Oda, and Passepartout arrived San Francisco early in the morning at 7 o'clock. They stepped into a floating wooden dock that rises and falls with the sea tide. Small boats and ships from places like
Since then, I'm going to marry the great water, Mary Towers, Mary Burns, written by Congress. I see in another midway along the station platform. Felicity don't run for Miss Rivers. It's hard to travel in the bump into someone.
I'm going to tell a extract story based on the great. He broke out surprisingly. What's your opinion of me anyhow? A little overwhelmed, I began the gentilized evasion with the question deserves.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Tiara Shrestha from grade 7 Rapti, here to tell an extract from the book Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl. We'll never let him go. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Bean switched off his motor of his tractor and climbed down from the driver's seat. Buns did the same. Both men had had enough. They were tired and stiff of driving the tractor all day. Their own space. Slowly, they remembered Mr. Fox. Then, they went to Mr. Fox's hole in the bottom of the huge crater. Buns was cursing Mr. Fox in his own word that no one could understand except him. Bean's face will never let him go, Buns declared. Never, never, never. Did you hear that, Mr. Fox? Yelled Bean. I hope you did, because we're not going home until we've strung you dead as a dingbat, he said. Whereupon the three men all shook hands among each other and swore a solemn that they would not go home until they've caught Mr. Fox. What's the next move?
Story program that was based on curriculum that you learned through your classes. But still, to guide you for the next time and to give you some suggestions so that you can improve in later programs, best speakers will be chosen, and another category is their most promising candidates.
Makes a man perfect. A man is the symbolization of both a girl and a boy. right? None of you agree to this. You? And what I noticed is that when you all are given the opportunity to come in the front and express yourselves, you show how capable you are. Looking at us as judges, you are looking at the audience, you are looking to your left, right, but some of you are just looking at the front. I don't know who are you looking at, or you are looking down. That doesn't show your confidence. You have to look all around to be expressive. Okay? So starting, ending, eye contact, and the way you come to the stage, hold the mic. That's it. That shows how capable you are.
Result is there. Are you all excited? Names on our hand. So let's announce that.
Yeah, wait.
Okay. The most promising speaker of today's event is Mr. Aaron Sharma from grade 7 Tilotama. Everyone, please give him a big most promising speaker. It's from grade 7 Rapti. We have Dev John Karki. Congratulations, Dev. It's a goal. Okay, we have Miss Tiara Shrestha from grade 7 Rapti. Now, it goes to, your guess is correct. We have Miss Lisa Prajani from grade 7 Rapti. And any guesses? Sanvi Kesi from grade 7 Tilotama. Even though you were not selected there, no categorization was there for you, but you dared to hold the mic, came up on the stage. That was also a victory in itself. Thank you so much, Principal Ma'am and Praveen Sir, and thank you, Rasmila Ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Right? And then I was very reluctant whether you'll do it or not. But life is full of surprises. You really did very well. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Very well done. Thank you.